Ladies, ladies, blah 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 blah. Wow. Private placement, July. Illegal, legal. Chapter Chapter 1. Chapter 1. Oh no. Where's my Chapter 1, Chapter 1, Chapter 1. Wait. Price. Price. What price? What do you think about the future of financial technology? You know what Elon Musk said in the recent interview? He said in 2036 money won't be relevant anymore. That's Elon Musk, and he has been saying that a lot, that the future of money is as though money will cease to be relevant in the next coming years. Like if you think about it, 2036 is in like 10 years basically. So this is according to Elon Musk. He could be wrong. Remember, just because you're the richest man in the world doesn't mean you're always right. He could be wrong, but we don't know. He could be right. We don't know. But he said in 2036 money won't be relevant, and he has been emphasizing this for too long now. So if money won't be relevant, what do you think the future will be like? Very interesting. Chapter 1, But it's unlikely, no, that money will be relevant. It is 100% unlikely. It's unlikely. It is unlikely. Maybe 50 years from now, but 10 years, it's impossible. It is impossible to render the importance of money useless in 10 years. It's impossible. 10 years is nothing. Maybe if he had said in 50 years, that's arguable. 50 years is arguable, but 10 years, it is unlikely. And also considering the pace in which AI is evolving, it is unlikely to render the importance of money redundant in the next coming 10 years. Unlikely. And the fact that also access to internet remains a challenge in many parts of the world, that is another issue, because not every person is familiar with AI. No, not every person. Especially people coming from emerging economies, developing countries, they still don't have access to adequate internet to familiarize themselves with AI. It's just impossible. Impossible. Impossibile. It's impossible. I get his point, but the timing, his like estimation is without a doubt incorrect. Thank you. His estimation is without a doubt incorrect. 10 years is nothing, you know. Especially when if it's a matter of changing how the world functions, you cannot do that in 10 years. Like the fourth industrial revolution didn't happen in like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It took a long time for people to get to the point in which we are living today. It took a very long. Okay, some people may argue that technology, I mean AI for example, AI can expedite Elon Musk's predictions, right? Because like AI is fast, which is true. AI is fast, like it's quick. It solves and it finds information quickly. That one I cannot argue. But then again, saying money will be redundant in the next coming 10 years, it is illogical. It's illogical. You can just think about the US war against Iran, for example. They thought they had won in the first week. Now we are in like, what month is this? The fourth month of the war. The war is still ongoing. They thought they had won. Literally, honestly speaking, the US thought they had won the war in the first week, in the first month. They believed they had won. What they didn't understand is that their intel was incorrect. Even now, the intel is still incorrect. Today, the intel is still. So, if the US is still struggling to win the war against Iran, how can you then say in the next coming 10 years money will be redundant? It's illogical. It's illogical. Because remember, the war it stands a chance to determine the future of the economy. It's just impossible. Impossibile. Now let's explore the South African future in terms of financial technology. So let's read. Okay. Recently, the South African Reserve Bank published a consultation paper on interoperability in the national payment system. But in that paper, that consultation paper, what is interesting is that they excluded cross-border payment interoperability within their scope, right? And with that being said, it takes us back again with respect to interoperability, because you cannot talk about interoperability to the exclusion of cross-border interoperability. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why they thought of that, because domestic interoperability has never been an issue. That is something that can be solved if companies, banks are regulated properly. But nonetheless, the South African Reserve Bank is quite backwards, if you ask me. They say, okay, we acknowledge the problem within our National Payment System Act and the South African Reserve Bank Act, right? The legislative pillars of our payment systems. They do identify problems, but then the very same South African Reserve Bank fail to address the problems that they consistently establish year in, year out. It's just illogical, if you ask me. It just doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. Like the visions in terms of interoperability in South Africa is just illogical. Okay, now it's time to read Anna at the call. Remember, this is about the future South African national payment system. So we are going to analyze the cross-border interoperability in the South African national payment system and access to the South African payment system. Okay. So, oh my god, I don't like the instrument playing now. I do not like it. I'm trying to put this instrument in particular on repeat, but I'm failing dismally. What is this? Okay, now let's read the introduction, which is introduction. We are going to not draw lessons, but we are going to analyze paragraph by paragraph the South African Reserve Bank, right? The South African Reserve Bank has over the past decade supported the enhanced interoperability in the national payment system. True. I think it started with Vision 2010. Yes. Interoperability was first, like interoperability as an issue in the national payment system was first established somewhere in 2010, I think. So this is through this commitment, of course, was reflected in the publication of the position paper. Actually, the position paper came later, but it's fine. This commitment was reflected in the publication of the position paper on interoperability, which supported payment systems that give preference to generally accepted international standards as opposed to proprietary standards. This is very interesting, right? So, in the position paper on interoperability, the paper underscored the importance of our national payment system following general accepted international standards as opposed to proprietary standards, right? And payment systems that conform to uniform and open standards that laid the foundation for interoperability between payment products and systems. So all these findings were done back in 2011. So the position paper on interoperability, the position paper on interoperability stated clearly that the goal was to follow generally accepted international payment system rather than the proprietary standard. Okay, this was established or underscored in 20. So this was established in 2011. What does that mean? So this was established in 2011, right? This was the position paper on interoperability in 2011. And the paper made it clear that the national payment system must follow general accepted international payment standards rather than the proprietary standards. So the commitment to enhanced interoperability in the national payment system was further reinforced in the National Payment System Framework and Strategy. So fast forward, I think I need a map. Fast forward, we have fast forward to 2018, right? 2018, then we had the publication of the National Payment System Framework and Strategy, which is Vision 2025. Fast forward 2028, we had the National Payment System Framework and Strategy. It is also known as Vision 2025. What was the vision? Remember, there was a vision, or like, let's say, goals that were established in terms of interoperability within the national payment system. In 2018, they have these goals in this framework. So basically, these goals were supposed to be realized last year. This is 2025. This is 2026. And then we have 2025. So what was the goal? So this National Payment System Framework and Strategy, Vision 2025, identified interoperability again as a strategic priority aimed at improving communication and interoperability between payment systems to prevent market fragmentation and promote a more harmonized and competitive payment ecosystem. This was the goal that was set back in 2018. The question is, has this goal been realized? Because the goal was supposed to be realized by 2025. Basically, interoperability as the main important part of payment systems was supposed to be established, or rather, let me say, regulated by now in the national payment system. So basically, by now, we should be having enforceable legal principles with respect to interoperability in our national payment system. So, do we have those enforceable legal principles now? We don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. And also the goal or the understanding of having interoperability within, like regulated interoperability within our national payment system, it is the understanding that if we do not have regulated interoperability within our national payment system, we stand to face challenges such as like market fragmentation and restrictive payment ecosystem, or I would say discriminatory payment ecosystem. Because if the payment ecosystem is not normalized to be competitive, it means there will be discrimination. Payment systems or ecosystem is by law supposed to be competitive, meaning that other third parties should be able to access the payment system, the national payment system adequately. And for that to happen, there must be interoperability within our national payment system. Wait, what is this kind of music? What in the nonsensical is this music? What is that? Oh, it's here. Bleh, bleh, bleh. So far, we understand that our South African Reserve Bank has indeed over the past decade supported enhanced interoperability in the national payment system. But one thing that we do not know as of yet is whether the goal of having enhanced interoperability in the national payment system has been reached. We don't know if the goal has been reached. This commitment was reflected in the publication of the position paper on interoperability, which supported payment system and give preference to generally accepted international standards as opposed to proprietary standards, and payment systems that conform to uniform and open standards that lay the foundation for interoperability between payment products and systems. The commitment to enhanced interoperability in the national payment system was further reinforced in the National Payment System Framework and Strategy, Vision 2025, which identified interoperability as a strategic priority aimed at improving communication and interoperability between payment systems to prevent market fragmentation and promote a more harmonized and competitive payment ecosystem. Do you know what is the issue when it comes to payment systems? The issue or the issues stem from a country not developing its own financial systems and relying on international payment systems. That is the main issue, and that is the challenge that from time to time South Africa is always faced with. I had this conversation with my supervisor the other day that why is it that every single time South Africa has to draw lessons from other jurisdictions, why can't the country itself position, why can South Africa position itself in such a way that it is always, or it always aligns with international development? And he was also like, I don't know. We are just slow people. All we do is draw lessons from other jurisdictions. Because we don't have people who are smart, I suppose. More recently, the South African, this is the recent publication by the South African Reserve Bank. More recently, the South African Reserve Bank published, more recently, the South African Reserve Bank published the consultation paper on interoperability in the national payment system. National payment system, which aims to promote the achievement of interoperability envisioned in 2025. So we have the recent publication, right, which is 2025. 2025, again, the South African Reserve Bank published consultation paper, a consultation paper on interoperability in the national payment system. So this paper aims to promote the achievement of interoperability envisioned in 2025. The question is whether the interoperability that was envisioned in Vision 2025 has been realized. Has the enhanced interoperability envisioned in the national, okay, let's say in Vision 25, has the enhanced interoperability in the national payment system envisioned in Vision 2025 being realized. Has the enhanced interoperability national payments envisioned in 2025 been realized? Because the whole point of the consultation paper on interoperability in the national payment system, the point is to promote the achievement of interoperability envisioned in 2025, thus enabling a more interoperable, efficient, inclusive, and competitive national payment system. Significantly, however, the said consultation paper expressly excludes cross-border wait. So the said consultation paper expressly excludes cross-border So the consultation paper expressly excludes cross-border payment. No cross-border interoperability from its scope. Significant, however, the said consultation paper expressly excludes cross-border interoperability from its scope. This exclusion raises an important legal question as to whether South Africa's financial law currently establishes this exclusion raises an important legal question as to whether South Africa's financial law currently establishes enforceable legal principles governing cross-border interoperability within the national payment system. So, the South African Reserve Bank describes, this exclusion raises an important legal question as to whether South Africa's financial law currently establishes enforceable legal principles governing cross-border interoperability within the national payment system. And if whether and if whether the exclusion and if whether the exclusion and if whether the exclusion promote or aligns and if further exclusion promote the achievement of the enhanced interoperability in the national payment system envisioned since the publication So this exclusion raises an important legal question as to whether South Africa's financial law currently establishes enforceable legal principles governing cross-border interoperability within the national payment system. Accordingly, the South African Reserve Bank. The South African Reserve Bank describes interoperability as the capacity of payment service providers, which is PSPs. So payment service providers and payment system participants, PSP. Oh wait, let me just leave it like that for now. Payment service providers and payment system participants to transact across different platforms and networks in a manner that promotes efficiency, accessibility, innovation, and competition. So, similarly, the Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures regards interoperability as the compatibility of payment systems that enables participants to clear and settle transactions efficiently across different infrastructures. Consequently, interoperability is not a merely technical characteristic of payment systems, but a regulatory mechanism capable of determining who may access financial infrastructure and on what legal terms. The legal significance of interoperability, particularly the cross-border interoperability, has become increasingly apparent with the digitalization of financial services. Modern financial services are increasingly digital and platform-based, yet even the most technologically advanced international payment platforms remain dependent upon domestic banking systems for settlement, clearing, liquidity management, and currency conversion. A practical illustration is provided by PayPal. In South Africa, PayPal users wishing to withdraw funds into a South African bank account must utilize the withdrawal service administered by First National Bank. Even where a customer does not bank with FNB, that customer must create an FNB online banking profile to facilitate the withdrawal of PayPal funds into a South African bank account. This demonstrates that cross-border payment platforms cannot operate independently of domestic payment infrastructure, but remain dependent upon regulated banking institutions that provide access to the national payment system. Letra. I'm trying to find something here to read. focus for networking. So the overall structure is not clear and the aligns closely with the revised studies focus on cross-border interoperability rather than fintech regulation generally. So, however, I'll make 3 important observations before you formally submit it. So it is somewhat repetitive. The first 2 paragraphs establish South Africa's Reserve Bank commitment to interoperability and the consultation paper's exclusion of cross-border interoperability. Then paragraphs 5 and 6, I think they repeat the same thing, the same points. 1, 2, then we have 3, and then we have 4, and then 5 and 6. Apparently they repeat the same thing. Okay. Over the past decade, yes, it has supported the enhancement of interoperability within them. So this commitment was reflected in the South African Reserve Bank has over the past year committed to the South African Reserve Bank has over the past year committed to the enhancement of interoperability in the national payment system. This commitment was reflected in the publication of the position paper interpreted, which advocated for payment systems that give preference to general accepted international standards over proprietary standards, as well as payment systems that conform to uniform and open standards that establish the foundation for interoperability between payment products and systems. So the commitment to enhance interoperability within the national payment system was subsequently reinforced in the National Payment System Framework and Strategy Vision 2025, which identified interoperability as a strategic priority aimed at improving communication and interoperability between payment systems, preventing market fragmentation, and promoting a more harmonized and competitive payment ecosystem. More recently, the South African Reserve Bank published the consultation paper on interoperability in the national payment system. So, consultation paper, ne? So, and thereby, okay. So the South African Reserve Bank published the consultation on interoperability national payment system, which seeks to advance the achievement of interoperability objectives contemplated in Vision 2025 and thereby contribute to a more interoperable, efficient, inclusive, and more competitive national payment system. So, more recently, the South African Reserve Bank published the consultation paper on interoperability in the national payment system. So, which aims to promote the achievement of interoperability envisioned in Vision 2025. So thus enabling a more interoperable, efficient, inclusive, and competitive national payment system. Significantly, however, the consultation paper expressly excludes cross-border payment interoperability from its scope. This exclusion raises an important legal question as to whether South Africa's financial law currently establishes enforceable legal principles governing cross-border interoperability within the national payment system. The South African Reserve Bank describes, it describes interoperability as the capacity of payment service providers and payment system participants to transact across different platforms and networks in a manner that promotes efficiency, accessibility, innovation, and competition. Similarly, the Committee of Market Infrastructures regards interoperability as the compatibility of payment systems that enables participants to clear and settle transactions efficiently across different infrastructures. Interoperability is therefore not merely a technical characteristic of payment system, but it may also operate as a regulatory it may also operate as regulatory mechanism capable of determining which entities are able to access payment infrastructure, the conditions on which such access is granted, and the extent to which different payment systems who may access and on what legal terms. So the legal significance of interoperability, particularly in the cross-border context, has become increasingly apparent with the digitalization of financial services. So modern financial systems are increasingly digital and platform-based. Nevertheless, Nevertheless, even the most technologically advanced international payment platforms remain dependent on domestic financial infrastructure for functions such as settlement, clearing, liquidity management, and currency conversion. A practical illustration is provided by PayPal. In South Africa, PayPal users wishing to withdraw funds into a South African bank account must utilize a withdrawal service administered by First National Bank. Even where a customer does not hold a bank account with FNB, the customer must create an FNB online banking profile to facilitate the withdrawal of payment funds into a South African bank account. This arrangement, in South Africa, PayPal users wishing to withdraw funds into a South African bank account must utilize the withdrawal service administered by First National Bank. Even where a customer does not bank with FNB, that customer must create an online banking profile to facilitate the withdrawal of PayPal funds into a South African bank account. So this arrangement illustrates the extent to which cross-border payment platforms may remain dependent on regulated domestic banking institutions. For access to the national payment system and its underlying infrastructure. So this arrangement illustrates the extent to which cross-border payment platform may remain dependent on regulated domestic banking institutions for access to the national payment system and its underlying infrastructure. So, the PayPal example also raises questions concerning the extent to which the South African Reserve Bank's stated objectives regarding interoperability have been realized in the context of cross-border payments. So the PayPal example also raises questions concerning the extent to which the South African Reserve Bank's stated objectives regarding interoperability have been realized in the context of cross-border payments. So, as underscored where is it? As underscored in the position paper on interoperability, the objective was to support payment systems that give preference to general accepted international standards over proprietary, yet where access to domestic payment infrastructure where access to domestic payment infrastructure for cross-border payment platform Yet, where access to domestic payment infrastructure for cross-border payment platform is dependent upon a particular domestic bank institution and its associated arrangement, question arises regarding the practical and legal implications of such dependence on interoperability, competition, and access to the national payment system. Similarly, Vision 2025 identified enhanced interoperability as means of improving communication between payment systems, preventing market fragmentation, and preventing market and promoting a more harmonized. So the exclusion of cross-border payment interoperability from the scope of the recent consultation paper therefore raises a further question as to whether interoperability objectives contemplated in Vision 2025 extend or were extended to cross-border payment systems and service providers. More fundamentally, it raises the question of whether South African financial law provides a sufficiently clear, enforceable legal frameworks governing the interaction between domestic payment infrastructure and cross-border payment service providers. Oh, grrr.